back in the studio with Ty Wilson, who's one of our assistant executive directors. We're going to find out kind of what goes on there and what he does, and we'll just let him talk. But as we were talking before we started here, I know a lot of us have kind of wondered, you know, why do we need 3 people in that executive branch when just a few years ago there was 1? So I think it might help us to understand what the division of work is.
Well, good question, and Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful holiday.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of diving into our executive office, of course, it's the 4 of us in there: Chandra Kumar, who's our executive director, Priscilla, who's our executive assistant,
Right.
and then
Couldn't get by without her.
yes, we could not survive without Priscilla, and then Melissa and I, who are the associate executive directors. And really the associate executive director role is to groom us to become eventually executive directors of our own, and, you know, eventually oversee our own community.
Right.
And so it's really a development and training role for us. But how it's divided up, and, you know, back in the day, I think when Chandra just had 1, what we saw from probably an enterprise is that there was challenges of, you know, putting that responsibility on just that kind of 1 person, and being able to keep up with the many moving parts we have here at GSV. And so how it's divided up is Melissa, even though we share responsibility of all of GSV, her oversight and primary focus is on healthcare services. So, so, you know, that is Garden Ridge, of course, the medical center, and then looking at, you know, Res Life and their ancillary pieces that they have under that umbrella. And then for me, my primary focus is, of course, dining services and then general services for oversight. And then I also focus on our risk compliance that we have on campus and our quality assurance process and protocols around that as well. And so every time there is really an accident that happens, whether it is staff on campus or residents, part of my job is to kind of look at them, review them, and then be able to provide a response to not only to our residents and our resident council, but our corporate partners as well, to ensure that, you know, we're providing great safety on campus, and that we're kind of adhering to the expectations and things like that. And so it's a lot of moving parts. We do have some, you know, kind of sub-tasks that we do, like for myself, I, you know, look at our diversity and inclusion program that we have on campus, the BCT, the Building Community Trust Committee, that's made up of both residents and staff. We all participate in our one team approach, and that's really kind of the program that we're currently using, the platform to really look at how we engage our staff and residents on campus, and really setting the culture foundation here, and how we lead our teams. And so there's a lot of little sub kind of things that we do. I also look at construction on campus, and so whether we're looking at Town Center or Village Square, along with Melissa as well, we look at, you know, being good liaisons to our you know, project management team, getting feedback from our residents and being able to filter those, whether they're good or bad challenges.
There's a lot of that going on right now.
Yes, and so so, you know, that's just kind of an overview of kind of what we do, you know, every single day. But it was a lot, you know. If you think you just have that one executive director, Chandra, she would have to kind of, you know, tackle all those pieces. And so we're good support to each other to be able to make sure GSV is in the best care moving forward. And so it's working so far. We may miss the mark on a few things, but you know, it's been an exciting process so far. For me, you know, kind of transitioning from that dining role, and then looking at a more broader scope of responsibility. And, you know, a lot of people don't know I have a background not only in business but construction, so getting a chance to really kind of have a deeper dive into some of the projects that are going on campus, and then being able to, you know, assist other areas, you know, getting a little better understanding of what goes on in Res Life and the medical center and Garden Ridge. It's been great for me. So I feel like, you know, my training is preparing me. We got a lot of new communities coming up with Erickson. I think it's 5. You know,
5 new communities.
5 new communities that that are on schedule to be within the next, I think, 5 years. And so, I know, I want everybody to know that eventually it's designed for the AEDs to go off and be able to have their own community of their own if they so choose. So, I don't know how long Melissa and I will be here, but, we love it so far. With that. So.
Well, now we have one of those new communities in this area.
Yes, Braddock Road is the sales center from our sales team has kind of communicated that it will go up probably sometime later this year. And so, they'll start to work around that. I know Short Pump in Richmond is on schedule to open. Yes, okay. I believe there's one in Maryland as well. We have Naples that is down in Florida, is already under construction, and then Bethesda is another community in Bethesda, Maryland, that's going to come online, I think in like 2023 or something like that. But so just a lot of growth, a lot of excitement, and you'll see that, not only with the AED roles, but the kind of assistant director role that we just hired at General Services. Jason Healy, who was the assistant director of dining services, what it's showing is that those processes work where, myself was able to move up to the next level, and Jason, as the assistant director role, was able to kind of come in and fill my shoes and lead the team. And so that's kind of what that is creating that bench strength throughout the enterprise that we're ready to go with all the growth.
Real good. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So anything else new coming on?
Sure. Just a lot of, we're just kind of getting back from the holiday season and, kind of seeing, we're looking at our strategic plan for 2020. Really, wanting to hit, the ground running with a lot of the metrics that we need to do to be able to make the resident experience the best experience. And so, we all want to be good stewards of our financials this year, and that's at the top of our priority. At the same time, staff development and training and leadership, really focusing on our mid-level staff and getting them the tools and resources they need to be successful. So we're just really trying to this year get real laser focused on a lot of the initiatives that we got coming up. And really around staff development and leadership, and making sure that we're grooming the next level of leaders to step up with all the growth and things that are coming on. One of the things that, just really recently hit my plate is the Cox. If this cable thing can go away. That was on my Christmas list of Santa. Clearly, he didn't answer. But
please finish it up. The first of the year.
But what I'm hearing from residents is that they're still having some challenges with Cox, and we're on that. We'll address that. But I think the message I wanted to tell residents today is that I fully understand. I have Cox at home, and it's not you may call Cox, and Cox may say it's a GSV issue, and then you call GSV, and GSV says it's a Cox issue.
Right.
And I know from a resident standpoint is they just want it fixed. We don't care whose problem it is. And so what I'm here to say is that our commitment is to really look at our relationship with Cox, and I think we can do a better job of being that liaison between Cox and saying, hey, we understand that we on site really don't handle the technical piece of it, so you should call Cox if you have issues and things like that. But where we can get better at is really brokering that relationship between us and Cox and saying, hey, here's our customer feedback, and really having good conversations with their liaison and say, well, there's the vice president of sales or whoever that person is, and giving them good feedback on what our customer, which is the residents, are experiencing here on campus, and because I think that's important for them to know.
I think it's kind of scary sometimes when a resident has a problem and you mean I've got to call Cox and talk to them? I don't know how to explain the problem, And they're much more comfortable talking to someone in general services and having them do it.
Oh yeah, and I can understand that. Everyone here is familiar faces, and I think it's kind of hard. Some of the conversations I was having with residents is because at GSV we signed this real global contract with Cox, and so we represent. We're the face of Cox here at GSV, but it is independently for each individual resident based off of their services that they wished for or required in their own individual apartment. And so, but I think again, we can be better at getting that information and communicating that over to the Cox representation, saying here's what our end user, which is our residents, are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. Because it can get confusing if you got to keep calling Cox and you don't feel like you're getting the level of service that you want out of it. And that was the purpose why we transitioned to Cox. Was we saw a need for that. DirecTV wasn't,
right. They weren't responding.
They weren't responding, and we don't want to start off, especially in 2020, with that level of relationship. So, hopefully we get that ironed out within the next couple of days or so.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's been a good conversation.
Well, thank you. Thank you.